All right, let's dive into one of the most fascinating, unforgettable characters ever to hit television, Dr. Gregory House. We're not just going to talk about the show, we're going to crack the code and really uncover the blueprint that made him such a genius.
This one line, it's everything. It perfectly captures what the show is all about. See, House wasn't your friendly neighborhood doctor. No, he was a predator, and his prey, the most bizarre, the most baffling medical conditions you can possibly imagine. And you've got to get this right away. If you're thinking this is just another medical drama, like ER or Grey's Anatomy, think again. House was built like a psychological thriller. Every single symptom was a clue, and every conversation with a patient was basically an interrogation. At its heart, the show revolved around this central enigma, a doctor who was an absolute genius at saving lives, but was also just a miserable human being, fueled by cynicism and chronic pain. He saw the human body as a machine that was broken, and his job was to solve the puzzle.
It's the big question, right? A question the show spends 8 seasons trying to answer. How do you even create a character who is so brilliant, so cynical, and yet so unbelievably good at his job? Well, the answer isn't in some medical textbook, it's actually in classic literature.
So here it is, the secret blueprint for Dr. House. It has nothing to do with medicine. The entire character, believe it or not, is a direct homage to one of the most famous detectives of all time, Sherlock Holmes. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The parallels are just incredible. I mean, they both rely on pure logic and deduction to solve cases. They both struggle with substance abuse, Vicodin for House, cocaine for Holmes. They each have one single trusted friend, Dr. Wilson and Dr. Watson. And this is the wildest part. They were both written to live at apartment 221B.
And look, this isn't just some fan theory someone cooked up online. The show's creator, David Shore, has said it loud and clear. He was a massive Sherlock Holmes fan, and he intentionally built House to be a modern medical version of that detective. Even the names, House and Holmes, it's a little play on words, isn't it? Like Holmes, it was right there in front of us the whole time.
But the show's genius isn't just based on this clever literary connection. It's also grounded in a surprising amount of real medical science. So you have to wonder, right? These crazy 1 in a million cases that House just happens to solve every single week. That's all just Hollywood make-believe, isn't it? Well, you might be surprised.
Turns out the writer's room actually had a team of medical advisors making sure that even the most out-there ideas were at least medically plausible. In fact, a lot of the cases were pulled straight from real-life medical journals. They focused on that messy, frustrating process of elimination, something you almost never see on TV.
Okay, so we've got the Sherlock blueprint, we've got the real medical science, but there's one final layer to this whole thing, and that's the man himself. To really get House, you have to diagnose his psychology. You see, his abrasive personality and his addiction to Vicodin, they aren't just little character quirks to make him seem edgy. They are the absolute engine of the show. His physical pain isolates him from everyone, and it's in that isolation that he gets this laser-like focus on the disease, letting him see things that other doctors just completely miss. And this right here, this is his whole philosophy. It's his most powerful diagnostic tool. House works from one single assumption: the patient is lying. By completely distrusting what people tell him, he's forced to rely only on the cold, hard physical evidence.
So what's the show's lasting legacy? What's the final diagnosis here? Well, beyond just being a huge TV hit, House MD actually left a pretty big mark, both on us, the audience, and on the medical community itself.
It's funny, because while no doctor on Earth would ever want House as a coworker, a lot of them secretly loved the show, and here's why. It made the diagnostic process look cool. It showed medicine as this deep intellectual puzzle, a complex art that's about intuition and deduction, not just following a checklist in a textbook.
You know, in a way, the show was really ahead of its time. It was showing us this highly specialized, data-driven kind of medicine, where solving the case can sometimes feel more important than the patient's feelings. House was obviously a caricature, but he was a caricature that pointed to a very real trend.
But hold on. There is one final piece to this puzzle, a last little clue that ties this entire thing together and just cements how brilliantly this show was constructed. We've talked about the Sherlock Holmes connection, but the creators left one more hint hiding in plain sight. Right from the very first episode, they left us this incredible breadcrumb. The patient's name is Rebecca Adler. Now, why does that matter? Because in the Sherlock Holmes stories, Irene Adler, known as the Woman, is the only person to ever outsmart the great detective. It's just a perfect hidden tribute right from the get-go.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know that House was so meticulously built from the DNA of Sherlock Holmes and grounded in real medical science, does that make his genius even more impressive to you? Or does it feel more like a brilliant formula? It's a puzzle worthy of the doctor himself.